now.
We will dream boldly, and nothing will stand in our way because we are Americans. The future is ours, and our golden age has just begun.
100 days into the promised golden age, are you better off?
Donald Trump's first term was successful by any historic measure, but his second term is ill-defined.
Tonight, Bill O'Reilly, a personal friend of Donald Trump's for 35 years, with as many sources as anyone.
I have to walk a line between being a journalist and being a friend to the most powerful man on earth. It's a very difficult line.
He's not just looking back, he's looking behind the curtain at 10 pivotal events.
He said, "O'Reilly, how you doing?" I went, "Where's the Kennedy files?" And 5 hours later, they were out. So I'm taking credit.
We've just gotten started. You haven't even seen anything yet. It's all just kicking off.
Bill O'Reilly's 100 Days of Trump. Are you better off? Good evening, I'm Leland Vittert. Donald Trump promised shock and awe during his first 100 days, but nothing could have prepared us for what happened. Trying to even remember it all, much less comprehend it, has been trying to appreciate the scenery while on a bullet train through the countryside. And that's where we come in, with the unique insights of one of America's most experienced political journalists and by far its most popular historian, Bill O'Reilly. Bill has known President Trump for more than 35 years. They don't always agree, but they sure seem to talk a lot. And tonight, after 100 high-drama days of Donald Trump, Bill is here to talk to us about what it all means for you. Let's start on day one, January 20th, inauguration.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
It already feels like 1,000 centuries ago. But indeed, it has been a mere 100 days since Donald J. Trump was inaugurated as president. Again.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
But while the details of the pomp and circumstance may one day be forgotten, what will be remembered is what came later that day as President Trump got down to business.
The first item that President Trump is signing is the rescission of 78 Biden-era executive action.
The first of the 100 days kicked off what became the definitive image of Trump's second term. The president at the Resolute desk signing executive orders. Not one, not 10, but 26 of them.
All very important.
All while conducting impromptu press conferences.
And a very big thing is the Panama Canal. China controls the Panama Canal. What's that all about?
This was not a one-off. The EOs kept coming, 143 so far, as this administration quickly established a reputation as one of the most frenetically active in history.
One of the most significant executive orders, farthest-reaching executive action. This is an executive order. Executive order.
It's executive order. Executive order. This is very, very important.
Put the 100 days in perspective for us as a historian. Has any president done as much on so many things?
No. Trump has done more in 100 days than any other president in United States history. Number two is Washington. So
not a bad guy to be number two, Tim.
Okay? So George had to start from scratch to build a federal apparatus. He did, but he did it slowly. It wasn't like Trump. Trump knew the day he was undone, he was going to sign 100 executive orders because Biden was such a disaster in his mind.
Dealing with everything we have to do with, look.
That's the most important thing. That Trump in his second term, much different than his first term, as far as his psychology is concerned, comes into a government that is in total disarray. What was President Biden's plan to bring down the $36 trillion debt? What was his plan to stop fentanyl smuggling into the United States from Mexico? What was the plan to end the war in Ukraine? What about the $1 trillion trade deficit? And how about keeping Iran from getting nuclear weapons?
He would have wanted to go back to the Obama deal.
Okay, but that's not really a plan. I think the audience is getting the gist of this. There is no plan to solve any of the problems that I mentioned. Okay. This second thing is Donald Trump comes in with a grudge. He didn't come into office the first time around with a grudge. The grudge was he believes that Joe Biden was behind a lot of the prosecutions directed toward Trump, including the Mar-a-Lago raid. Because he believes that, Trump despises Joe Biden. That drove what he did, or what he's doing right now, in the first 100 days.
What do we make of the Vanna White, Will Scharf, who's now the Vanna White of executive orders, coming over and handing each one to the president? He didn't need to do that in front of the cameras.
Sure he did. It's a show. I think that Donald Trump has been the most open president in my lifetime.
Is that a good thing?
For me, it is.
But for the country, the hour-and-a-half-long sessions in the Oval Office, the whipsaws, the flailing, the contradictions all the time.
The Biden administration launched what you've called a war on showers.
Is that a good thing?
I think it's great. He sits there and he takes questions from people he knows don't like him, and he answers the question.
Well, it depends on the deal.
Now, you don't like the answer? Fine.
Okay.
But at least he's given the opportunity to the American people to hear what he has to say. Take it or leave it.
Next, day 16, February 5th, keeping men out of women's sports.
From now on, women's sports will be only for women.
Trump turned up his war on woke. Surrounded by female athletes, he trained his target on the sports world.
So in recent years, the radical left has waged an all-out campaign to erase the very concept of biological sex and replace it with a militant transgender ideology.
For Trump, the trans battle is one front of a larger cultural war. DEI, ESG, CRT. Any acronym that's become part of the progressive dogma. He wants it out of the government, out of our schools, out of corporate America, and ideally, out of America altogether. He hates woke.
He thinks the far left are subversives and destructive to the country, and it's personal because they hate him.
If we were to pick one photo from the first 100 days, it might be him surrounded by all those female athletes, right?
Yeah.
Trump probably produced that moment himself.
Probably. And he's smart to do it. Most Americans don't want males, biological males, competing with women and girls in sports. I mean, what is it, 70, 80% plurality?
80. Donald Trump loves a foil. He loves a fight. What's with the Maine governor?
She was disrespectful to him.
Is Maine here, the governor of Maine? Well, are you not going to comply?
And she said, we'll see you in court. Boy, that was a mistake.
See you in court. Every state, good, I'll see you in court. I look forward to that. That should be a real easy one.
My God, when I heard that, my head just snapped back. She had no idea who she's talking to. None.
Why does Trump hate DEI?
Because it goes against his traditional sensibilities that you would have a system that hires for a job or accepts for college admission based upon gender and skin color. It just goes against his belief system that you should do it on merit, not this other stuff.
You can see it. It's personal to him.
Right. He doesn't like that preference based on skin color and gender.
Part of Trump's war on woke has now been a war on Harvard University, your alma mater. Do they deserve it?
Yeah, they do. And I'll tell you something else I haven't really made public. So I'm in touch with a lot of people at Harvard. I said, look, I'll broker a deal with you guys and the president if you want me to. But I said, if you want me to do it, you're going to have to agree to change. You can't have 82% of your faculty defining themselves as left, far left.
Is that where the anti-Semitism comes from?
Sure, because if you're going to bring in the radical left, they hate Israel. They hate them. So all of that. But by saying to the American people, your tax dollars are not going to go to Harvard, most Americans say, fine, NPR, PBS, down the line. We should not be funding ideological concerns here. That has been a big success in Trump's first 100 days.
Coming up, has this been history's greatest presidential bromance?
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
And was this history's greatest Oval Office slapdown?
Think you're gambling with World War III.
Day 22, February 11th, Elon and Donald talk Doge.
We have massive amounts of fraud that we caught, and it's going to go to numbers that you're not going to believe.
With Elon Musk's son X in attendance, President Trump announced some of the early findings and actions of the new Department of Government Efficiency.
Well, if you don't have a feedback loop, FAX, we would have to,
While tending to his parenting duties,
it's been hard to hear sometimes. Hey, stop that.
Musk framed this cost-cutting crusade not in terms of dollars and cents, but the foundations of representative government.
If the bureaucracy is in charge, and then what meaning does democracy actually have?
The budget cuts, buyouts, and layoffs currently numbering in the hundreds of thousands, with entire departments' staff slashed or eliminated altogether, billions in waste and fraud uncovered, and the promise that this was only the beginning.
We're removing all of the unnecessary, incompetent, and corrupt bureaucrats from the federal workforce. That's what we're doing.
But the budget savings have come with a cost. The anti-Musk backlash has sparked nationwide attacks on Tesla dealerships. The stock has plummeted by 50% since its record high. The world's biggest bromance has survived the first 100 days, but will it survive the second? Fair to say that Elon Musk and Donald Trump have a unique relationship.
I don't know much about the relationship, but I'll tell you an inside story. So on St. Patrick's Day, I got invited to be in a cabinet meeting down at the Oval Office. Sitting next to me was Musk. So Musk turns to me and he says, how am I doing? And I said, you're doing well. You're right on track, because we can't have this kind of unbelievable waste of taxpayer dollars, but the presentation needs to be toned down. This is serious. People are losing their jobs. Can't be having a chainsaw. This is exactly what I told him. And I'm not going to take credit for it, but since that time, the Musk presentation has changed. At this point, as we are in 100 days, Musk's role is on the decline, because Musk got to get back to his private concerns, which have taken a huge hit.
Elon Musk started by promising he could get rid of $2 trillion. We are now at less than 5% of that.
But that's all hyperbole. Look, if you're going to go back and quote Donald Trump or Elon Musk or any of these people about what they say, and then what actually happens, you're going to have to do a telethon. All right? You're going to have to do 24 hours straight. That's what these guys do.
I'm young, Bill. You're old. I can do it.
I'm
Let's
old.
go.
Okay, thanks for pointing that out. But if you don't get it by now, they say anything.
Come here, Elon. Did you see his rocket yesterday?
In terms of what matters to the folks,
Right.
as you would say, okay, the amount that Doge has saved is statistically insignificant.
But the fact
It's
that
like
they're...
It's like a family of four saving a McDonald's meal over the whole year.
No, it's $1,000 a head right now. That's where it stands.
If you believe their accounting.
Okay, if I believe anything. It's $1,000 a head. And this is an ongoing concern.
Well, you don't want me to take what they say literally, but then you want me to take all their accounting literally.
I don't want you to take anything literally. I'm telling you that we have no factual basis to challenge that accounting. Do we? And they haven't even gone to the Pentagon yet. They haven't even gone in there yet with the $800 toilet seats and stuff. They haven't even touched it yet. So this is an ongoing thing. But at least it's there.
Does this bromance survive beyond Trump going back to Tesla?
No, I don't know. What am I, Miss Cleo out here? All I know is this. The President of the United States, Donald Trump, respects achievement. You need to know that and understand that. If you are an achiever, even a world wrestling goon, if you're the top, he wants to mingle with you.
Trump wants to surround himself with greatness.
I don't know about greatness, but he wants to get information from people who have succeeded. That's what he wants.
Next, day 39, February 28th, Vladimir Zelensky visits the White House. The stage was set a Friday morning at the Oval Office, the framework, a mineral resources agreement between the United States and Ukraine, a crucial step towards brokering a peace deal to end the war. The result?
This war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3 days. I heard it from Putin. In 3 days. This is something
Maybe
new.
less.
In 2 weeks. Of course, yes.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like this.
Contentious might be putting it lightly.
You're gambling with World War III. You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. What you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country. You got to be more thankful. Because let me tell you, you don't have the cards.
Mr. President,
You called me within 15 minutes of the Zelensky-Trump spat. What'd you tell me?
It was like the Maine governor. It's the same thing. That Zelensky disrespected Trump in the Oval Office. You can't do that. So Zelensky comes in his little sweatshirt, which, believe me, Trump did not like.
Kid Rock wears crazy stuff. Elon Musk wore t-shirts.
Doesn't matter.
Why the sweatshirt thing was Zelensky?
Kid Rock is an entertainer, okay? Zelensky is a head of state. It's a big difference. And then Zelensky goes in and starts to dictate to Trump what kind of security measures that America has to provide. And that's where he made his mistake, Zelensky. Zelensky knows it. He knows it. So he's not the problem with this peace process right now. It's Putin. And Trump wants to believe that Putin is a reasonable man.
And Putin's taking advantage of that.
Okay? Because Putin's evil. I don't think Putin respects any human being on this planet. He'd kill you and me and Trump like that if it served his interest.
But if he thought there were real consequences, he may not.
Maybe. But does he respect anybody? No. He's a true sociopath. He has no human feelings. But Trump wants to believe that he can reason with Putin to stop this mass murder, which leads nowhere, in Ukraine. And Putin was leading him on to say, yeah, I'll be reasonable. But so far has not.
This is a point of real failure for Donald Trump. Is that his fault?
No. And I don't even think it's failure, because at least he's got the process in motion. There is a structure in place whereby if things break Trump's way or America's way, then something could happen. Under Biden, it was impossible. Nothing was ever going to happen.
There have been, if not dozens, a number of deals that Vladimir Putin made, 2015, 2016, 2017.
And he disobeyed them. Right.
Broken all of them.
Right, okay.
So
but there's no other alternative. You either go at Vlad and you hurt him, which I think is going to happen if this goes on much longer. I think Trump has got big sanctions coming against Vlad because the Europeans are on board with that.
Does he respect or fear Donald Trump enough to not break a deal he makes?
I don't know that. I think he fears Trump.
Really?
Sure, because Trump can do a lot of things to Putin. With the banks, with international currency, a lot of things.
What would have to happen for Trump to do that?
Oh, I think they're close. I think it's close.
Putin has
Moderation.
embarrassed Trump a little bit?
A little bit. That bombing last week, that was right in Trump's face. That was not a good move by Vlad.
The mood has improved since that Oval Office spat. Trump and Zelensky met during the Pope's funeral. And just this week, that elusive minerals deal got signed. This could be the beginning of a beautiful friendship. Or not. Is there contempt by Donald Trump for Zelensky?
No, he doesn't care about Zelensky.
Zelensky
is a small player. Okay, he's a small player. He just wants Zelensky to do everything that he says. In the end, Zelensky will accept a quote-unquote reasonable ceasefire.
Coming up, the speech that had Democrats sitting down and walking out, and the issue that Trump is calling his greatest victory. Day 43, March 4th, the joint address to Congress.
Mr. Speaker, the President of the United States.
It's been called Trump's greatest address to Congress ever. Clocking in at 101 minutes, it was certainly the longest.
Our economy, Ukraine, inflation, American families, grocery prices. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
But Trump wasn't the only one putting on a show.
He's going to be voting for the tax.
The Democrats made their scorn for the president known, even to the point where they refused to stand for one of his honored guests, a 13-year-old cancer survivor whose dreams of becoming a Secret Service agent came true on the spot.
The joint to Congress, he loves giving those speeches because it's a show, and the Democrats looked stupid when they didn't stand up for the poor kids and the other things that were obviously...
But that's Trump's genius, right? He's able to put Democrats in these terrible
I don't think it's
positions.
genius. I just think the Democrats are stupid.
So this isn't some grand plan by Trump.
No.
He doesn't think about it.
He baits them. But I'm telling you, I'm looking around for a Democrat right now who impresses me as a thinker and a fair person and somebody who reflects the working ethos of America, and I don't see it.
Should Trump, should Republicans, should the country pay attention to the crowds of AOC and Bernie, not just the crowds, but the energy and this anger they appear to be tapping into?
It's not AOC and it's not Bernie. It is you.
Waste of time. This is just a niche, younger audience that's socialists, and that's what they want. It's like a hard middle group, all right? Metallica. I'm never in a million years going to sit through Metallica, ever. I mean, because I don't want the headache. But Metallica comes in and sells thousands of tickets to Metallica people. The Bernie Sanders and AOC, they're Metallica people. All they want to do is hear socialist, yay!
So
yay.
What's Trump, Bon Jovi? Bruce Springsteen?
No, but Trump's got a massive 80 million vote plurality. Whereas Sanders, he's lucky he's a senator from Vermont, let's say that. Because there's 18 people and a bunch of cows up there in that state.
Next, day 55, March 16th, the Tren de Aragua deportations. Cuffed and chained with dour expressions and shaved heads, members of the violent Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua, or TDA, arrived at their new home in El Salvador, CICOT, the country's notorious terrorist confinement center. But the famous flights were just one dramatic example of the broader immigration crackdown. Sweeping nationwide arrests and policy reversals didn't just make headlines. They yielded stunning results. Illegal crossings on the southern border are down by more than 90%.
2 years ago, parts of the El Paso sector saw more than 2,700 daily crossings. That number has now plummeted to less than 65.
And despite pushback from the left and the courts about due process, there's no sign of slowing down. On the contrary, with last week's arrest of a Wisconsin state judge for allegedly obstructing ICE agents in her courthouse, the administration is making clear that anyone trying to impede its crackdown could feel the full force of Trump justice.
We're going to end sanctuary cities for some of these jurisdictions that aren't cooperating with law enforcement.
Trump loved that video, right, of the 3 planes landing in El Salvador and the guys getting run off
Sure.
and thrown in the prison.
Sure.
What message did he want to send with that?
I'm a tough guy. I'm taking care of these people. I'm the Elliot Ness of the immigration movement. So the border is a huge success for Trump. Not
Border's
for,
effectively closed.
right, not for the open border far left. They hate it. Okay. The deportations of criminal migrants is a very difficult success because mistakes are being made. But the spirit of getting these people out of here, okay, is backed by most Americans. But Biden came in and told Homeland Security, the Border Patrol, do not enforce the law. Don't enforce it. And there are 1 million gangsters in this country illegally, and that's a low estimate, wreaking havoc everywhere. This Garcia guy who was deported to El Salvador. The Democrats who are sticking up for Garcia, trying to make him into some kind of martyr, look stupid. This is a bad guy, okay? Now, Trump should have brought him back. That was not smart. But,
Why did he do that, you think?
I don't know. That was ridiculous.
You think he won it?
Just bring him back.
Why don't you think he did?
Don't know. It was a mistake.
The only thing that Trump has won on with Congress is passage of the Laken-Riley Act.
Right.
And it passed with Democrats in the Senate. Does that mean that there are things that Trump can get bipartisan support for?
So the Democratic Party will probably place its collective finger up to the wind and see which way the wind is blowing, because it's destroyed now. They've got to get some credibility back. And if they're going to object to everything that Trump does, they're going to get wiped out in the midterms. It's all about the midterms right now for both parties.
Coming up, the question that's consumed the country for more than 60 years. Who killed Kennedy? The president says all will be revealed. And is Bill O'Reilly helping him reveal it? The JFK files are released.
This historic release consisted of approximately 80,000 pages of previously classified records that are now published.
Ever since that fateful day in 1963, the public, the historians, and the conspiracy theorists all wanted to know what was hidden in the government's classified Kennedy files.
Man in his quest for knowledge and progress is determined and cannot be deterred.
Back on day 4, Trump had signed the original order to release the files on JFK, RFK, and MLK, making sure the pen was delivered to Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Give that to RFK Jr.
Yes, sir.
But it wasn't until day 57 that the JFK documents were dumped.
You know, we're talking about a massive trove, some 80,000 pages of unredacted files from the JFK assassination.
And this guy may have been the reason.
Well, another interesting story. When I walked in there St. Patrick's Day, he said, O'Reilly, how you doing? I went, where's the Kennedy files? It's exactly what I did. And he goes, what do you mean? I said, I'm getting hundreds of letters. Where are the Kennedy files? And he goes to Susie Wiles.
Ice Maiden.
He goes, when are they? We got to get these out. And 5 hours later, they were out. So I'm taking credit. But
some of them were now out.
No, but the gist of it is out. They're not holding back, pardon the terrible pun, any smoking gun. They're putting out what the essence of it is. The only thing they don't put out are CIA people and other people who still alive.
So you're okay with the amount?
I'm fine with it.
You're fine with it?
Fine with it, 100% fine.
Questions answered.
Killing Kennedy, if you want to know what happened, you read that book. Now,
did we learn anything from this release, all these documents?
I already knew it all. I learned something from the RFK files. The RFK files didn't get a lot of attention. I did not know that Sirhan had written, all right, things that he wanted to kill RFK. I did not know that. And Bobby Kennedy Jr. is still hawking conspiracy theories about his father's death, which, I mean, come on.
You almost looked with scorn when you said RFK Jr. and conspiracy theories about his father's assassination. What is Trump's fascination with RFK Jr.?
They made a deal, and Trump keeps his deals. And the deal was that RFK would throw his support, and then in return that Trump would consider him for his position at the Health Services Department. It happens all the time. I don't know if RFK Jr. is the right guy there.
So everything pertinent about killing Kennedy has been released?
I believe so.
Should this end the conspiracy theories?
It won't, because you make money being a conspiracy theory person, but should it? Sure. Oswald did it. Oswald had help. There was CIA involvement, and there was no doubt that they were surveilling Lee Harvey Oswald.
Involvement versus help is different, though, right?
No, it's the same thing. And they weren't actively telling Lee Harvey Oswald to shoot John F. Kennedy, but the CIA deep state, all right, knew that this was an unstable character running around Dallas, Texas, and going down to Mexico City and going to New Orleans and all those things.
The whole idea of releasing the Kennedy files speaks to exposing the deep state. Is that a conspiracy theory?
Why don't you ask Pete Hegseth? Of course it exists. These are
so these aren't Pete Hegseth's problems aren't of his own making?
No. I mean, hold it. When I say no, I don't think he's capable of running the Pentagon. I said that when he was nominated.
Yeah.
But every day the leaks are coming from careerists in the Pentagon.
What a big surprise that a few leakers get fired and suddenly a bunch of hit pieces come out from the same media that peddled the Russia hoax.
That's their life. That's their only job. They don't want reform. They don't want him. And they're going to sabotage him.
So
in Washington, D.C., they don't want any change. What was it, 5% of them voted for Trump in the district? 95% voted for Kamala? Does that tell you anything about the swamp?
Coming up, it was all going so well until Liberation Day.
That's where he hit the wall.
A market meltdown with poll numbers to match. But could the trade war turn into Trump's greatest victory yet?
If things break Trump's way or America's way, then something could happen. That America is making progress with the EU and in the other trade deals. China will follow. That's what he wants to happen. He doesn't want the stuff made overseas because that drives wages in the United States down. He wants wages to go up. And the easiest way to do that is by creating more manufacturing here.
Next, day 82, April 12th, talks with Iran. The first talks in Oman between the United States and Iran have been described as positive. The topic, Iran's nuclear program.
I think if the talks aren't successful with Iran, I think Iran's going to be in great danger.
With Israel itching to strike Iranian nuclear facilities, Trump is seeking to strike a grand bargain that will defang the mullahs and defuse the perennial Middle East powder keg.
I think we're doing very well on an agreement with Iran, but that one, we're doing a lot of things.
And yet, for a president who's always been skeptical of military adventurism, Trump openly drops hints about dropping bombs if he can't get what he wants.
We'll have something without having to start dropping bombs all over the place.
Iran put videos out of them taking a shot at Donald Trump. You come for Donald Trump comes for you. Is he going to come for the Ayatollah?
No, I don't think so. He's not like Bush the Younger. And he got...
Trump's already backed off things with Iran. He's backed off whether or not they can have a civilian nuclear program, whether they can keep uranium around.
It's not quite as simple as that. The civilian nuclear program would be run by us. Okay? We're running it, not the Iranians. So what Trump said was, we'll allow you to have nuclear energy, but we're going to supervise it. So look, Iran's defenseless. They have to do what Trump says, and they will. Nobody at this point in the world believes that Iran can stand up to America and Israel. Everybody knows it's over. It's just a matter of how it's going to play out.
Coming up, it's payback time. And this time, like every time, it's personal.